Okay, we're in across the part of the golf course. We're in the live alley next to the stream that we've referred to a number of times.
Is this still Boundary Brook here? Or
Well, one would assume so. The bird that was singing to start with there was a great tip. A good way of remembering bird song is to draw some sort of connection in your mind with them. A great tip this time of year, January, sounds like a squeaky wheelbarrow wheel. E-e-e-e-e-e-e. And I remember when my granddad was alive, and I used to help doing gardening with him. He used to have this wheelbarrow that used to go e-e-e-e-e-e. And I used to say to him, Granddad, why don't you oil this wheel? He said, well, by the benefit of having a squeaky wheel is if I send you off doing some gardening, I know if you're working because I can hear it moving. So I draw a correlation between great tit and that experience.
I've also got a very similar thing as well, that a chaffinch. My mum always used to say that a chaffinch sounds like a bowler running up.
Thank you.
To bowl a ball, and that as soon as I hear that call, I know that there's a chaffinch very close by.
Thank you. There's only 2 people I've ever met, and you're one of them, who agree with me on that. I call chaffinches cricketers' feet because the song does sound like a bowler coming in with his feet pattern.
Yes.
And you're the only second person to agree with me on that. Wrens, they sound like little machine guns. Blackcaps, you know those little things people have on their coffee tables, Newton's bores?
Yep.
That's a blackcap. Jays, their call is like a rusty nail over a metal cheese grater. Has to be a rusty nail. A galvanised one, completely different.
The one that magpie sounds like a very, very small machine gun.
Yeah, in some ways, yes. Now in the background we've got a little waterfall. These internal mics, we'll pick them up. We'll pick that sound up. But if you really wanted to get that sound, you would get these mics down close, or you would get a shotgun mic.
Yes.
That would filter out this aeroplane in the background. You know, you wouldn't get that. Or you could get little, you know, when you go to the doctor and he checks your heart, he puts those little sensors on your chest. You could maybe get some of those and place them, might be a bit of an experiment, place them subterraneously under the soil on the riverbank, see if it picked up a vibration through the soil. Or you could get some waterproof ones and actually put it under the water, you know, and it picks up a whole different sonic frequency there, and you can pick them all up, record it all onto the H4n. But we're in a woodland now. You walk into a woodland as a photographer, what's the first thing you would do?
Keep my eyes open.
Okay. For?
I don't necessarily look for wildlife. I look for... I mean, this stream, funny enough, this stream we've stood right next to here, I've been in my wellies with my tripod and my camera just to take photos of it. It's such a nice natural thing to take a photo of, that makes sense. But I like to just take photos of the trees, really.
From what angle? From below, looking up? From
pretty much all of the above, really. So close up, if there's anything interesting that I can see. We've got a nice bit of ivy up the side of the tree that's behind us here. Again, with some lovely moss on top of this branch going down here as well. Yeah, pretty much anything that I spot, really.
This is where we start getting into the realms of reflected sound again. Previously, when we were at the bottom of Cowley Marsh, it was screening us away from the background noise. But there is no background noise at all here from the traffic. No. But this water is just bouncing off of these tree trunks as well.
Yes, we also have this big concrete.
Exactly, on the far side.
Storm drain.
I mean, I've got the microphone pointing at the sound source, but as William says, we've got a concrete sort of
It's a storm drain.
Storm drain, as you say. And it's reflecting off there, but it's reflecting off the trees that are actually behind the microphone as well. When you're listening to it, you'll just get surround sound. But as a sound recordist, when I'm trying to get pure sound from that water, I know what I'm listening for. But any birds around here you can hear that you're not sure what they are, because I remember you saying you come through here sometimes and you're not sure what you've heard. Test the Wildman.
There is one, just that one there. That's a blackbird, but there's a...
Okay, there's another. That's actually a great tit again. I said great tits have squeaky wheel core. Great tits have over 40 different songs, cores, depending on what they want to say, their feelings. That's a great tit.
That's a great tit, is it?
Yeah, it's sort of the pitch. It's just practice. You have to almost see the bird making the different chords to get it etched in your mind. Don't try and beat yourself up if you don't know what something is. It doesn't matter.
Yes,
But,
it's also, for me, it's even if I don't know what the bird is, it's just nice just to, as we're down in the valley here, to come down here and listen, and just stand and listen to what's around you.
Under this tree here, you've got somebody's been cutting down logs,
Yes.
and it's been there a while. They're rotting. They're covered in moss. If you were going to pick that as a subject,
Yeah.
how would you approach it?
You can get a good, when you've got something like they've got moss on them, they are showing early signs of decay. It looks like maybe one of those has been dug out by something, by some creature.
Yep.
The one at the back there.
Yeah.
It's to just start with your eyes, as always. Just start looking at what you can see, and get really close into it and see what there is. And
The level, would you take it from above, or would you get down on your belly and take it from...
it all depends on what you're taking and where it is. I wouldn't recommend getting down your belly, because you might get a little bit dirty.
Wow.
But to get nice and close, and a good macro shot you can get some really interesting photos of moss and that type of thing.
But the trees are changing now. We came through Cowley Marsh, lots of hazel. We've got willow, predominantly now. Or willow, actually. Different types of willow. Plenty of ivy growing on it, on the trunks.
A fair bit of holly in front of us here as well.
All interesting things with bare trunks, so reflective sound. Always a consideration in a wood. Always a consideration in a wood. But we're going to have a wander up. We're going to head up towards the Slade. What have you got?
I was going to say also, you're talking about it reflecting sound, but because you don't have the canopy of leaves above you, any available light is obviously penetrating to the floor much easier, which makes photography much easier, if that makes sense. And you also see a lot of details that you wouldn't necessarily see in the summer. You see all the different intricate branches. It's sometimes nice to get right to the base of a tree and look up and then take a photograph that way, just to see the pattern of the trees. And you can expose for the sky, completely overexpose it, and you silhouette the branches, and it really shows how intricate they can be.
Your camera's over there on a tripod, and you've got a remote control.
I have, yes.
The quick demonstration of how the remote control works, and the best types of remote controls that come with the camera.
There's many different types of remote control. I've got particularly a very basic one, which is just literally a button. It's a Canon one, specifically used for this camera. And there's a setting on the camera. It's usually a timer setting, and it would actually have a remote control icon on your screen somewhere. It will say that it'll also be a remote control, and all I need to do is press the button, and it will fire from a certain distance. You can get better ones. This works within roughly about a range of about 3 meters, but you can get ones that are much further, that will work from much further away.
Shall we wave at the camera now?
We can, yes, but it's not switched on.
Yeah, that helps.
So if you listen now, there's the red light. And there's the shutter. You probably picked that up on your recording.
Just about. I think you'd have to have really good hearing, but your microphone's facing away from it.
Yeah, it's good. What, 2 meters away?
Yeah, exactly. But that's another good way of actually. You don't have to hold the camera.
No. I've actually got some really great photos of ducks. I've left the camera. I left the camera on the floor with a covering underneath it, with a few ducks around, and which means I was able to get far enough away. The ducks again surrounded it, and I took some photos.
Yeah, exactly. So you're. We said about earlier on making ourselves as small as possible in the environment. Well, we're non-existent in that environment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, there have been some wildlife photographers of the year, or photographers photograph of the year, which have been remote triggered.
Yeah.
So it's actually, they've gone out into the wild, they've placed their camera, and they've just left it there with infrared triggers.
I'll do that with these recorders. I got a number of them, and I just place them out in fields and in woods. They're just on, and you just see what.
Yeah.
Sometimes you pick up things you don't want to pick up, and then other times you'll get something snuffling around, or a bird actually sat on top of the microphone singing. You know. So yeah, just make yourself as small as possible. Obviously, you need to be confident that you can leave this equipment out without it being nicked.
Yes.
But you know, the rewards are worth it. Okay, let's have a wander up. Let's head towards the Slade and see what we find there.